Thank you so much for your patience. Thank you for being here. Happy Venture Week Miami. I know there's a million other events happening this week, and you chose to be here now, and it really, truly means a lot. Welcome to Women Building with AI. My name is Brooke Gramer. I'm the host of the How I AI podcast. Before we get started, I want to call your attention to the QR code behind me. Be sure to scan that. It's going to give you all the details of today's event, including a very special offer from one of our partners, Lovable. So let's dive into our partners today. I want to thank Grail's Miami, and they're a sports bar just across the street. If anybody's interested, we're going to be heading there after. We have friends and family pricing to keep the conversation going over dinner and drinks. I want to thank Law and Pixels. Nicola Foss was one of my very first interviews on the podcast, How I AI, which just premiered its 48th episode today, so I've been at it a little under a year. And Law and Pixels are legal experts, so if you're in the space where you're Web3 or business, entertainment, techno, music. She also does music as well, but if you're seeking a lawyer within the tech space, I highly, highly recommend her services. And thank you for Lovable, and special thank you to Marian for setting it up as a Lovable ambassador. Everybody here who's seated in this room today gets a very special offer of 1 month free to Lovable Pro with 100 credits. And the code is on that QR. The code is LovablePodMar. And really, really important, this expires in just 2 days. So they only gave us a specific number of seats, and you get it for being here. And just a really thank you for, again, being here in person, and really encouraging you to continue to build and be inspired from this talk today. I'd also like to thank my production team, By Art & Company. Thank you all so much for making this magical event happen and feeling the vibes are set up, right? And they've been in the space for over 7 years. They work hands-on in media, storytelling, and digital communication. I really started putting myself out there in the past year, building my brand up. I can't speak highly enough of how important that is to really be being the face of your brand, especially as a founder. We'll get into that conversation deeply more today, as these 3 females I'm interviewing today have done such a wonderful job promoting and being the heads of their companies. So if you're exploring how to extend your voice in your work or your expertise without adding another role in your life, reach out to them. They'd love to connect to you after the show and work with you. And then last but not least, our hosts here at Mindspace. Thank you so much for hosting us during Venture Week, and I'd love to open the floor to Ashley to say a few words. And beautiful, beautiful co-working spaces. And I hope if anybody got a chance to co-work today, did anybody come early and co-work? If not, that code's good for another few days, so she'll speak to it more, so take it away.
Thank you so much.
Can you just see how to use the code, because I'm trying, it's not.
Is anybody else having a problem with the code? I'll send it to you after.
No, because I opened it, but then it didn't take me, it didn't actually.
It's clickable, so everything in there is clickable.
It opened, but it showed me just the page, but it didn't add the point.
I'll connect with you after. I'll make sure you get help. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
Thank you everyone for being here. I just wanted to say a few words in behalf of Mindspace. I'm Ashley, I'm the marketing manager here. And yes, as she said, this is a co-working flex office space, but I feel like aside from that, we want to also be community, which is why we have opened the doors this week for your event, which is amazing, Empowering Women with AI. We also have an event tomorrow, and we also have an event with Coffee and Connect on Thursday this morning in the same event. So if you guys want to keep coming, as she said, the code for a day pass is active for this week and next week. So if you want to come and experience the event, we are a FutureSelf co-working space. We offer memberships to private offices, from a 2-person office to a full suite of 60, and enterprises, memberships, meeting rooms, and of course this event space. But aside from that, I just want to make sure that you guys understand that we are here building community. So even for a partnership, if you want to do something with Mindspace, if you want to get exposure to our members here, we have so many different industries, and we're trying to like build that connection within the Miami community. This is not our only location in Miami. We also have one in downtown. Beautiful views, by the way. Bay views right in Biscayne Bay. So if you want to explore that location as well, you're welcome. We have over 50 locations around the world: New York, in the U.S., Philadelphia, DC, San Francisco. Yeah. So if you have any questions about our services and what we can offer and how we can collaborate and how we can partner, I'm going to be here. Bruna, my partner, is also going to be here, so you can just approach us and we're going to be here to answer your questions. And let's have an amazing event.
Yay. Thank you, Ashley. All right, I'm about to call up our future founders for the evening. Just really quickly, again, my name's Brooke Kramer. Thank you so much for being here. I have a background in marketing strategy, events, and creative advertising. I've worked through LA, New York, and now here in Miami, everything spanning hospitality to tech SaaS, and really the inspiration behind this podcast. I saw there was a lot of hype news cycle podcasts and how-to tutorials, but there really was this gap in the market where we were having these dinner table conversations and speaking to one another as peers about how we're adapting AI, because we're in such a cultural moment right now. This is never going to happen again in our lifetime. So I'm really excited to welcome up our featured founders and be diving into their personal stories. Please, I'd like to first welcome Gazal Vakili. She's the founder of FutureSelf, a neuroscience-backed identity simulation platform powered by ElevenLabs. Does anybody use ElevenLabs?
Yes.
Yes. She brings a background in clinical research and digital therapeutics along with a master's in health sciences. Thank you, Gazal. My next speaker is Marian Bacol. She's the founder and CEO of Somarae, an AI-powered somatic wellness platform and community for personalized real-time stress reliefs and nervous system support. Her platform is powered by Lovable. Does anybody use Lovable already in the room?
Yes.
Awesome, great to hear it. And then last but not least, we have Rebecca Crothamer. She's co-founder and CEO of QSecure. QSecure is a quantum-resistant cybersecurity company protecting enterprises and governments against AI and quantum-driven threats in real time without the costly infrastructure. So welcome, Rebecca. Thank you so much for being here. And I believe we're gonna put this up so we can focus in on the conversation and dive in. So my opening question I want to give for this space and each of you ladies, and we can go down the line here and start with Gazal. Please, each of you, give us your founder snapshot. Who are you and what are you creating and why does it matter right now?
Is this working? Is it? Hello?
I can pass the mic.
Yeah? Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Brooke. Thank you for having me and putting together this incredible event. So I'm Gazal Vakili. I am the founder of FutureSelf, which is an early stage startup. So my background is actually in clinical research. I spent the past 17, 18 years in the world of clinical trials. In pharma, biotech, developing medical interventions in various different indications. And the last 5 years of my career was really focused in digital health. I was heading up the digital health unit for a pharma company, where really our mission was to go beyond the pill, which was a mission that I was very passionate about. And we got to build really creative interventions. So virtual reality was a medium that we focused in, and we built virtual reality programs for various different mental health disorders, and was actually one of them. And so I did leave the corporate world late 2024 and sort of embarked on my own journey. 2025, it was sort of a year of figuring out who I wanted to be and the identity that I wanted to step into. And that led me to what I created, FutureSelf, which is really something that's mission aligned. It's an identity simulation app, neuroscience-backed, where you get to interact with the future version of you that's already living and accomplish your greatest vision through various different experiences. So this is through FutureSelf coaching that are highly personalized, meditations that are customized, multisensory visualizations where you get to, your brain actually encodes it as future memories because our brain doesn't know the difference between what is happening in reality and what you're vividly envisioning using all senses, as well as cinematic videos where you'll get to see yourself actually living your vision. So through this mechanism, our goal is to change and shift the identity of the person, so you start showing up as that future version of you every day. And so why this is important today is that, with this whole revolution with AI, there's a lot of people that will be losing their careers, their sense of self, their identity, and really what we're focusing on initially is career, financial abundance, and purpose. And so with the aim of helping people through that transition.
Beautiful, thank you.
I don't know if it's working.
No. It does?
The mic is for the live stream.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Can everybody hear? Are we good? Okay. Okay.
Hi everyone, I'm Marian Bacol. I am the founder of Somarae. And this journey actually, even though I founded the company last year, this journey started 12 years ago. 12 years ago, I overdosed and had a near-death experience. That was a catalyst to my healing journey. Before that, I checked off all the boxes. High achiever, eldest daughter of immigrants. Any eldest daughters out here? Know what I'm talking about? Yes. And so checked off all the boxes, did all the things that I needed to do, but didn't address a lot of things internally until it all kind of unraveled when I had my near-death experience. And so from there, bought a one-way ticket, moved from LA to Miami, away from everything, and really, this was 12 years ago, dove into healing, just really for myself. And I started with meditation, got certified in meditation and breath work. And when I realized that even though I was teaching it and doing all these things, I was meditating for hours, but in real life, I was triggered. I thought I was better than everyone, doing all the things. And then a few years later, I started really discovering for myself somatics, which is body-based, coming back to your body. So instead of ascending, I was descending and actually feeling all the things that we're told not to feel and to not, think about, right? Because we're told to disassociate and leave all that behind. And simultaneously, I actually organically grew my coaching and consulting and speaking. I became a TEDx speaker, hosted retreats and events for 8 years, doing somatic work and all of that. And through the process, my clients were telling me how even though we had this session, they would wait, right? Who waits? I will do that practice, later on. I will do that tool that you taught me later on. And they needed support, even though they needed more support than my coaching or therapy and retreats. And so I started looking for an app that would actually support them, and I could not find something that really resonated with women. The top meditation apps, top wellness apps were founded by men, and we integrate women's health. So you can actually track your cycle with very personalized nervous system support. And we're really big on community. So I love what you said, being really purpose-driven. Somarae is a purpose-driven, people-first company. We're applying to be a B Corp company so that we can have a give-back solution and really incorporate wellness events that have in-person co-regulation. And I think it's so important for what we're doing now because it's really the merger of ancient wisdom, right? And everything is science-backed by papers, by studies, and it gives people the tools to self-regulate and also connect ancient wisdom and technology together. Because I think we can build, especially for women, we can build things that will improve humanity. Amen.
Beautiful.
Hi everyone, I'm a big fan of what you both are building. I'm in a different space, and we're here talking about AI today, so I'll give a little bit about my AI background. Some people can say that they were hacking away at AI when they were like in middle school or high school, but I get to brag that my AI career started when I was 7, when I was an extra in a movie. Has anyone seen the movie Bicentennial Man? It's becoming a deeper and deeper cut. It's a movie from the 90s with Robin Williams, and he's like a robot that's on a journey to become a person. So that was my, like, the beginning of my AI career. Was you can see my elbow and like the back of my head in that movie. So my acting career didn't work out, but I ended up getting to go to Stanford at a time when like deep learning was really starting to have real applications. And that was the previous buzzword, right? Deep learning. And so I got to study AI, and I worked in AI for a while, and it was really these big questions of what is a thinking thing and how do we build it that really attracted me to this space. But again, another joke, around 2015, 16, I kind of got bored with AI. And I kind of felt like there was nothing more to do for me there. You get to this place when you're building AI where you push up against the walls of what's possible. You read about like sci-fi eventualities, and it's really hard to get there on big computers. And I wanted to just look over the edge and see what was over there. And that was quantum computing. And so I got into the field of quantum computing. And to make the long story short, where I am today, my company Q-Secure, we founded it. We've been at this for 5 years. And we are in the cybersecurity space, so the defense against the dark arts of quantum computing. Now this sounds really sci-fi, this sounds really abstract, but why is what we do important? Think about how many digital transactions you have each day. Text messages, Signal, WhatsApp, any of that you're sharing with your best friend, whatever it is. You're checking your electronic health records online, you're doing therapy maybe online, right? You're sharing very sensitive information. Maybe you're even trading crypto. Any of these things, we often take it for granted, but they're protected with encryption and cybersecurity. And there is this big threat that's coming down the pipe, AI and quantum computing. And what we do is we defend against that. We make sure that your data that you want to keep private, that remains private. And yeah, I love what I do, and it's a very, very important part of the AI conversation is this cybersecurity layer.
Amazing.
Beautiful. It was really hard to choose to be on this show today, and thank you if anybody in the room applied. I had an application process going for one of the speakers, and I ultimately landed on these 3 different women because they're in such unique spaces and different phases of building their business, and I feel like each has a great key takeaway for different phases. So maybe you're just launching and still ideating your MVP, and maybe you're now in marketing and distribution and growing it, or maybe in your series 3 of fundraising. So everything across the board today. And keep in mind, we're going to do some Q&A at the end. So if you have any questions, think about it now. All right, Gazal, I'd love to kick it off with you. You've pulled together, as you are, she's bootstrapping her company at the moment, and she's pulled together an amazing team of volunteers. A lot of her team is working through equity-based. She has a team of interns, and she just secured a developer. If you could speak on how did you attract the right people, and what have you learned about building a team before you have big funding?
Yeah, so when I started out about 10 months ago, I first reached out to a couple of people that I highly trusted, that I had worked with on the virtual reality mental health area. One of them was a clinical psychologist. She was a chief clinical officer and the chief product officer. And that company had also gotten acquired, so they were available. And so they joined me in it's really people that are mission aligned, right? That's the most important thing, that really are passionate about what I'm doing and what this can do for people. And so we started ideating and going through and really focusing the initial phase, I would say, really on ensuring that the product is grounded in clinical evidence. And that was really the first 3-4 months, right? Making sure that we're creating something that's truly going to be impactful, that's grounded in neuroscience and psychology. You know, she's a cognitive scientist, and the other girl, she's also been in this field for 20 years. And then slowly as I started to share what I'm doing with friends and my community, a lot of people, the first question truly that I would be asked is, you know, what do you need and how can I help? That was a very common question that I get all the time, and I still get that. And so then I would share my gaps. And then they would introduce me to, you know, to X person, and then the other person would introduce me to the other person. So I would say most of my team was built that way, through people that would hear about it and would just really want to be a part of it. So through that, I have learned that one of the biggest drivers for humans, which has been truly, really heartwarming, is impact, is to really be a part of something that's bigger than themselves, something that they truly believe in, that they can contribute to. So yes, most of the team is, you know, mission alignment, it's equity alignment, and I do have others that just want to be a part of it for no reason other than to want to contribute and to be part of the movement that they see.
Thank you. That's what I love working and interviewing with women. I feel like we, not to say men don't, but we tend to lead with what our community and our children and our loved ones need, and are solving problems that way first and foremost. Again, not saying one way or the other, but I see more consistency in that, so thank you for sharing. Marian, I like to call Marian the grant queen. Her and I were just having an offhand conversation about some legal questions I had based on her experience, and she's like, oh, you know, there's a grant for that. Because if you think about starting a business, how expensive it is to get all your legal fees covered among everything else, especially if you're a solopreneur or bootstrapping in the beginning. So you've been really strong at securing grants and outside funding. What have you learned about finding money beyond traditional investors?
Yeah, so I think it's really resourcefulness, right? And so when I first started, I thought I was supposed to raise VC funds, and because, you know, Somarae is venture scalable, but I think after doing more research and talking to people and actual founders who've gone VC and all of these things, I actually stopped fundraising and decided to bootstrap so I could really focus on my community, the customers, and launching. And we actually officially launched in January. Now we're already revenue producing. And what that really showed me was that there are more resourceful ways. Sometimes when you aren't given everything, and I've talked to founders too, who got the money, right? You think that because you have the money, then you can do the thing. But from what a lot of investors and a lot of other founders have shared is that the money is an accelerator to something that already is working. And that's actually what is going to support you. Because the statistics of people who get funding and not go into the next round is actually, don't quote me, but extremely high. And a lot of startups they fail. And so I had to get really creative. And there's a lot with the story. And I think when you really have a great founder story and impact behind what you are building, it is part of the movement. People resonate with that. I've gotten grants just sharing my story. I've gotten grants because of relationships that I've made that have told me about something. And I think it's also being really resourceful in the way of trying different things that people aren't used to. For example, part of, I'm a bootstrap founder, and we're going to be raising with angels first and family offices instead of going straight to VCs, is that you find investors that are really aligned with your mission. And as they say, not all money is good money. You want to be with investors that really align with your vision and are able to help you. So searching for grants, really putting yourself out there. I think building in public has really helped me because people know what I'm doing. I've actually gotten people that I don't know, people from online. Brooke has actually sent me stuff, like top of mind, like, hey, I saw this grant, apply to this, apply to that, like do all these things. And I think just put yourself out there. Be resourceful, put yourself out there, build the connections, and you'll stay top of mind for people, and they'll be sending you things. So, yeah.
Thank you, yes. And please take your time to introduce yourself to me, because I love keeping my friends and my community top of mind. Once I know what you're seeking, I love to extend my network and resources, so be sure to connect with me after. Okay, Rebecca, great question for you. And AI is moving really fast. What are we completely underestimating right now when it comes to security, encryption, and quantum risk? You know, what risks do you think most founders are not thinking about when they're building AI products for the first time?
So much of our lives are online, and the reason, like many women, right? I'm very mission driven. I really genuinely want to make the world a better place, and I see that a lot with female founders. Not that it's exclusive to female founders, but and for me, we're going into this AI era where we don't know what's going to happen, and the reason that I got into the space that I did in cybersecurity is because, again, I was intrigued by how do we make this a bright future for humans. And I think about our lives in a digital world as sort of like a Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And the very base of that pyramid is data protection. We gotta own our data. We have to be able to protect what deserves to be protected. And so, to bring it back around to the question, AI is moving so quickly, we have to get that cybersecurity right. And when you think cybersecurity, or when you think encryption, or you hear me talk, you're like, yeah, that's for the big enterprise companies, right? But it's not. It's critically important that small companies are thinking about this and how we handle data, because AI is making threats more dynamic, not just quantum computing. And so, you know, in Miami, I went to a lot of cool companies, a lot of like blockchain and crypto companies too, and a lot of these high-tech companies assume they're good, like cybersecurity can be an afterthought. But the hard truth is, blockchain will not stand up against these threats. Right? You have to be building with that in mind, not as an afterthought, but at the forefront of protecting your users, your consumers' data, and that is so foundational to getting it right as we move forward into an AI and digitally driven world. That's what I'd say.
Beautiful, thank you. Who here is into blockchain and Web3?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
All right, good to hear. All right, Gazal, let's turn it back to you. You're still building and testing out your MVP, and in the beginning you shared that you wanted to have all the features. You had all the ideas to put in, which even I can relate to when it comes to conceptualizing apps or products. What helped you narrow it down and focus on what really matters as you get really closer to your final MVP?
Yeah, I would say that's been one of the biggest challenges for me. You know, you have this big vision, and it's like you want to build the universe, and soon you realize that you simply cannot. You know, you can spend years building a product, but you really need to get it into the hands of users to really understand what it is that the users want. So we have been doing user testing throughout the process, which is very important, but detaching from all the different, features that I thought are really part of this like operating system that I'm building for identity change was very difficult. And it's really what came down to it is, yes, we can't build the universe, so let's build the door, that gets users in. And so defining that door, like what is that door? What is the simplest experience you can provide in order to still provide the value and the promise of the product? That's really how we start to think about it. Like, what is that, core product loop that still provides that magic that I'm after, which again wasn't easy, but we have that now, and it still requires discipline to not allow the creep to happen, because there's a billion ideas that pops in, and so we already have 50 features that we want to add to it. But yeah.
Thank you for that. Such valuable feedback, as now it's quicker and easier and more cost efficient to build our MVPs now. Well, next up, let's go back to Marian. Your growth has come from grassroots community building. What has worked best for you when it comes to distribution and marketing? And you can share everything you're up to building your community, please.
So I think now in the era of no-code software, vibe coding, it's actually a lot easier to build product. And now what differentiates startups that become successful is distribution. And this is actually what's going to decide if people stay in your community or not. And community really is a bigger thing. So before we were Somarae, our name was Nirvana AI, and despite the branding the rebrand that had to happen, I'm actually really glad it happened, because people thought we were just AI, but we were not. We're actually the platform, that's one, for self-regulation, and the community part was really big, bringing people back into in-person events, and really feeling and experiencing the somatic part. So it's the events, the in-person connections, even though it is a slower build, you have more stable foundation. And because of this, I've actually been a community builder for 20 years. I've been doing events for over 20 years. I realized that how I actually get users to convert is to experience it first. So I'm actually having an event on Thursday at the Tesla Design District. It is a somatic experience event. Because when people actually feel it, because our whole thing is get out of your head. Most solutions still leave people in their head and then come into your body. When people actually feel it, they're like, oh, now I get it. And we are able to convert them. People do sign up because they have that support. So we're planning lots of events, actually going to all the tech weeks all over the US this year. I do a lot of local events, retreats, and with that, you have really your moat. Because technology can get replaced really quickly by top AI companies, your moat is your community, because people want to stay with you. They really feel, they become your brand ambassadors. I have people who signed up, clients, members, who tell people, who, without me even asking, they're like, oh, sign up for Somarae, do this, go to the event. That actually, in the long run, will help you with distribution.
Thank you. Yes, I'll be there at Tesla, so be sure to sign up. VentureWeek.com. Is that the URL? You'll find it. Just Google it. All right, Rebecca, let's go back to you. You're building in the deep tech space and raising serious capital. What has raising money as a female founder specifically really been like for you? And what would you like to share about learning about that along the process?
Fundraising is so gatekept. And so I'll share a few of the things that I have learned the hard way. One, it's hard. If it feels like it's hard and you're feeling like you're getting 50 no's to every yes, you're doing it right. You'll see these highlight reels and people acting like it's easy. No matter how good you are, it's never easy. And it is often harder for women. You're gonna get asked prevention questions versus promotion questions. Questions like, well, what about this risk? Versus a guy's more likely to get a question about, well, what about this opportunity, right? And per usual, we have to come prepared and we have to be better. We have to do amazing. There's a methodology to it. It's not magic, right? It's just practice, and if you're going into it, just ask someone who's done it. A lot of people, again, will gatekeep, oh, you've got to have this thing. Nope, BS. There is absolutely steps and methodology to get it right. And it takes a long time, but just talk to someone who's done it. Here's the most important thing. And this is the thing I think we don't talk about enough. A lot of the investors want you to think this and like fall into this trap of when you get on an investor call, you feel lucky to have their time, you feel like you've got to prove something to them, like you're selling them. The reality is, and I really respect people who bootstrap and avoid venture, because it is a privilege for someone else to own a percentage of your company that you are oftentimes giving your life to. So what it took me a while to figure out is there's money everywhere. There's a lot of money out there looking for a place to land. Not to say it's easy, but you are entitled when you're building something to find your people, your tribe. And when you get on that call, you are also more than entitled to be interviewing them. Why do they deserve to own a piece of that company that you are building just because they have money to put in? And that really changed things for me. Find those people that are good for you, that are your tribe, that are going to help you grow and believe in the cause. And I've turned down 2 different checks. Like, check on the table, here's the money. I turned down $1 million check, and I turned down a $10 million check.
Wow.
Yeah, right. And it was because they were people that I did not want as part of this ride, right? If you told me these 2 different people were showing up in the Epstein files these days, I would be like, yeah, that makes sense. So I said no, and it's scary. Like, it's very scary to say no. But it's been so much better for us, and VCs are like, or whether VC or angel, whatever investor family office, they should provide a lot more value than just the money that they're putting in. And so our Series A lead, I told them straight up, you're going to own as much of this company as I do. I want you to create twice as much value as I have. And hats off to them, they have. So shout out to Two Bear Capital. They're fantastic. Find your people, find the money, and interview them. It's a privilege to own part of your company.
Yeah. Beautiful. Gazal, if you were to put your business together 4 years ago, you wouldn't have gotten as far as you are now with the advancements in ElevenLabs and tools like Gemini. And so I want you to share about using these tools and how you're powered with this cinematic video like VEO3. If you want to share about how these are helping you build your app faster without having to have a huge engineering team powering you.
Sure, yeah. So we actually did get a startup grant from ElevenLabs, which has been incredible. What we're basically doing is we're using all the sort of the highest and greatest API tools that are available and building on top of that. Instead of building everything in-house, we want to create the most premium experience possible using what's available. And then once we have traction and a clear signal, then determine what would make sense to build in-house. So this we're able to do, of course, in an incredibly speedy fashion. So quality and speed. And then again, once we have a better understanding of what the users want, then we would determine, okay, what makes sense to actually build in-house for, whether it's better quality or just better control and cost, of course, because they are expensive. But yes, it's been, we wouldn't be able to, it would take, I don't even know, like 4 or 5 years and a lot of millions of dollars to build this without the existing tools.
Such exciting times. Marian, you've built Somarae mostly using Lovable on your own. What gave you the confidence to build it yourself? I know you have a CTO, but he really just checks in on the code, and you can share more about that in your own words. What have you learned along the way building on Lovable?
So I use Lovable and ElevenLabs. And what I love about Lovable is because it's fast iteration. And so I went to Unicorn CEO Summit last week, and the founder is a billion-dollar exited SaaS tech founder. And she said, women wait until we're 100% ready to take action versus our counterparts that wait until they're like 60, 70% and they go. And that's something that I've actually been really taking to heart, because as like, I'm like, I want this feature, and I want this and that. But I decided, because Lovable, it's so much easier to test and iterate things, and I had an existing community of my clients that I was able to really pull from, did interviews and all this, and they gave me basically what they wanted. I wanted to give them a product. So that's why with Lovable, we were able to launch and iterate. And without launching, I never would have known that there is such a huge need to integrate perimenopause, menopause, and postmenopause type of information. And because of that, we're building that in, and then we're launching in the App Store with a much more robust product, and already with an existing community. And so what I love about it is that you can iterate very quickly. And you're able, and it still looks beautiful, because I think for women, we love things that look beautiful. You know, aesthetics is a big thing. And I was able to really learn. And I'm pretty tech savvy. I actually used to do marketing for a tech company. I worked with startups when I was in corporate. So I've always been curious. And I think you just do it. I think to learn these tools, you actually have to just do the tools. You have to iterate, you have to make mistakes, and I was fortunate enough to also bring on people to my team that believed in the mission. I actually found them through Connected. It's an amazing platform. They're actually sponsors for my event here on Thursday. I have 2 events on Thursday. And you get access to pro bono fractionals and advisors that are really, and this is free for founders. And I was able to use them, and so my CTO and tech advisor have really helped me check the code, and they've worked in SaaS and other tech companies, and they're like, actually, this is a lot cleaner than we anticipated. And because of that, we have a really good conversation, we can iterate, and really giving our ICP what they're truly wanting. And I think you really have to think about that, take yourself out of it, and ask what they want. They will tell you, listen to them, iterate with them in mind, especially ones who already paid for your product because they've already invested in you. And so it's just this loop of listening, iterating. I personally will call them, talk to them, WhatsApp them, ask them how they're doing, what they found, bugs, and it's a really good communication, and I want to continue doing this even as we grow, like put systems in place to do that. And I've seen this as a Lovable ambassador on the back end. They're really amazing. Like, we tell them this is a bug, this is happening, and they fix it so much faster. So I love that example that they're really sharing with me, like, even as you grow and you're that big, to pay attention to your users.
Beautiful. Thank you. Let's move it back to Rebecca. Rebecca, as you have scaled your company, what maybe didn't go as planned? And what did that teach you about building responsibly? I know that's like one of your core pillars.
They say that every time your company doubles in size, everything breaks. Every process you put in place, it all just kind of falls apart. And I've definitely found that to be true. One thing that we got wrong is putting process in place prematurely, and not process that speeds things up, process that actually slows things down. Because, that's what a big company would do. And hiring people also that speak very confidently and know what to do, but not able to do it themselves. So I think it's something that I noticed we did, and we've luckily gotten past, is we hired a lot of these people who are very experienced. I kind of defer to this experience, right? Oh, you've done this thing, that's amazing. Come in, help us. And these, a lot of the time, ended up being people that like to share how to do things right. But when you're a startup, your unfair advantage is that you can move fast, and you need people who are going to roll up their sleeves and not just tell you how to do something, but do something. And then I found us putting in process to kind of make things move. But in the end, I realized it was having the wrong people in place. And we were putting in process to kind of make up for that fact. So we stripped out a lot of the wrong people. Once again, find your people, find your tribe. And really focused on a culture of trust and building the community internal so that everybody can talk to each other, and when they want to get something done, when engineering wants to get something done, they can talk to sales, sales can talk to engineering, and there's this deep trust between everybody. And focusing on culture and our values and really screening hard for that when we hire people on, that has made all the difference. And I'm super proud this happened this week. We got, for the third year in a row, we got Forbes Best Startup Workplaces.
Awesome.
Yay!
Yeah. And they look at the data and they pick the startups that are like have the best culture. And so I think getting culture wrong early on is a mistake. Get it right as fast as you can because it makes everything else go faster.
Beautiful. Yes, congratulations indeed. All right, we're in our final 10 minutes or so of the space, so I want to open it up to Q&A. We do have a mic runner. Adrian, if you could come help assist with running around the mic. And maybe we can just get some hands raised who may have a question, who would like to go first. All right, here, if you wouldn't mind passing this around. I know this woman's here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, guys. Such a great panel. I have a question for Rebecca. I'm in finance, I'm in fintech, so I'm very interested in security, and we use a lot of AI, and it's a huge threat, and it's top of mind. I'm curious, you mentioned about the people, right? One of the most important things is finding the right people. How do you find the right people? What are you looking for? What's your criteria? Like, how do you know this is the person I want to hire, versus this is not the person? This is not a person from my company or from my culture.
Oh, wait. Yeah. We need a mic.
How do you find the right people? Man, I found a lot of wrong people in order to learn how to find the right people. But people who can take feedback, and we've kind of adopted this phrase like low ego, high EQ. People who are trust builders, people who can take feedback in the interview process, like, hey, I think you kind of got this wrong, and see how they respond. We've started doing a lot of contract to hire, which has helped quite a bit, because especially I've noticed interviewing people, sometimes they're actually, I can tell they're using AI to answer the questions nowadays, and it's kind of creepy. So everyone knows the right answer, like, oh, this should be this way, of course, yes, everyone says the right thing. They're actually doing the right thing, so whether it's like take-homes to see how they think, contract to hire, see how they integrate. The final thing I'll say is there's sort of that theory of like, there are people that are givers, there are people that are matchers, there are people that are takers. And the best performing companies are the ones that cut out the takers and are primarily givers. And so really screening for people who are give first and creating a safe environment for where givers don't get taken advantage of.
Do either of you have anything to add?
Yeah, I can add. You want to do it? No. Yeah, so one thing that I do is just, as an early stage startup, I do have a 1-month trial phase where, I bring them on and, it's like assessing compatibility, just synergy. I think that's been really crucial for me. Also, really, I think trusting your intuition is a big part of it. And prior to wanting to bring anyone on, having a very clear idea. So really sitting down and designing the person, right? The qualities you're looking for and what it is you're looking for. So it's very clear for you. And then trusting your intuition, I think, is a big part of it too.
I have one other tip, because I had a whole team before my last company, is that I found, especially for like startups, new companies, is that they have a sort of entrepreneurial drive within, like they call it entrepreneur, right? So you don't really micromanage them, you kind of help them see the big vision and they execute. And sometimes they come up with really innovative ways that like never would have thought of, and it's really giving them that permission, that sort of space to also take ownership of it and run with it. Those have been the best hires for me.
Beautiful. Any more questions?
Thank you all. I have a question question about quantum, because we talk a lot about AI right now, it's the focus, but I know quantum is, or a year, it's even bigger. And I'm curious, what 3 companies should we be looking at? Where can we learn more about what quantum even is and how to think about it? Yeah, I got into quantum from AI because quantum will be bigger. It will enable a lot of the things that we dream of achieving in AI. 3 companies. My company, QSecure, to learn about the threat side of quantum computing. Companies in the quantum computing space proper, there are actually a handful of publicly traded companies that you can invest in today. IonQ, Rigetti, D-Wave, a couple others. They're really cool, and then there's a couple of stealth ones, or stealth-ish. There's a company that's gonna go public called Quantinuum. They're very cool, they're setting a lot of the records. And then there's a company out of Australia called PsiQuantum, and they're kind of a dark horse, but doing really cool stuff. Then, like Google and Microsoft are also doing things in quantum, and they put out really good educational resources too.
Rebecca, share what quantum is.
What is quantum? It's a good question. Quantum computers, they're these things that sound like sci-fi. If you Google a quantum computer and you haven't seen one, you'll be pleasantly surprised. It's a really pretty thing, actually. It looks like a chandelier. Quantum computers are this next generation of computers. And they're not just bigger, better, faster, stronger, regular computers. They are ones that think in a fundamentally different way and can solve different problems. And so the way I usually like to explain it is if you close your eyes and imagine you're trying to solve a maze. And you enter into the maze and you hit your first tee. You can go right or left. Choose left. Okay, next tee, go right, whatever. You're iterating through this maze. That's how a person acts, that's how a regular classical computer also acts. Quantum computer walks into a maze, hits its first tee, it can go right and left at the same time. And then once again, right and left at the same time. And so the power of a quantum computer, which is important, right? All technology is a tool. The power of quantum computers is being able to kind of hold all of these different paths through that maze in RAM, in memory at once, and through algorithms, quantum algorithms, shave off the wrong ones so that you're left with the most optimal path through that maze. And there's actually a lot of problems in the world that we're likely to only solve with quantum computers. Modeling molecules and drug interactions and those kinds of things, impossible to do with regular computers. Breaking today's encryption that we use, impossible with regular computers, possible with quantum computers. So that is a bit of a long answer, but they're real. They're coming very quickly, and you can even go on and program one if you want. I mean, you can program IBM's quantum computer online, but keep an eye out. The next 5 years are going to be really, really exciting. And the important thing to look out for is when quantum computers start solving problems that you recognize. Not like super sciencey sounding ones, but like, did it do financial portfolio optimization? Did it help discover new molecules, etc.?
Okay. I think we have time for a couple more questions. Oh, I see one right there. Okay, yeah, this side, okay. This side. Sorry, guys.
Hello. So my question is actually for each founder regarding first hires. I'm curious to know when each of your first hires were, and when, like at what point in the first year, first month, and why. Like if there's a story related to that where there was an actual breakdown and fundamentally that had to kind of speed up the process, or if it was something planned. That sort of stuff.
Let's start with Gazal.
So yeah, for me, it started out with 2 colleagues that I had worked with previously, and then our next hire was a software engineer in essence, someone that we needed to actually build the product, and then from there it just continued on to a UX researcher, and have a couple of other interns, another product designer. So slowly added on our team of 10. Yeah.
I think you hit an inflection point, right? Where you can't do certain things and you need to delegate or find support. For me, the first inflection point was finding someone who was very tech savvy, my CTO and tech advisors, because I could only take it so far. And then the second was my marketing assistant manager, because even though I'm a marketer by experience, there was only so much I had to focus on other things, to be the CEO of the company and really thinking with the visionary where it goes, and I needed support in that. So wherever you're going, you find inflection points of, okay, I don't have this capacity, I need to hire out. I think and it varies, right, per person. I don't think there's like a exact formula. It's what you need, just like if there's technical founders, they're looking for non-technical, right? So find the inflection points and then grow. My partner behind us, who's helped me a lot too, he's also a tech founder. He's really great at hiring lots of people and delegating, and sometimes as women we think that we can do it all. Seeing him and being able to just call in a lot of people higher has been a great reminder for me to also yes, I can do it, but is that really for the best of the company? And so then growing it, and now we're a team of 6, and actually bringing a new intern on as well. So find the inflection points and then delegate out.
We actually got started with 4 co-founders, so we shared the load quite a bit. And I think if you're a solo founder or you don't have the luxury of having 4 people who will work for free for a while, the thing that, my first hire, I hired while he was doing his PhD, and inexpensive, smart labor that I could pay literally out of my own pocket, and we still work together.
Beautiful. All right, I know we missed this side. Here, let's do
Yeah, so this question is from 2 people who've done co-working in the therapeutic space. And obviously what you're doing is so different. And if you have any input too, even though it's not your thing, but what you're doing is so different. And I'm really curious if, obviously you had a passion, you had your own experience, and you had your own experience that brought you to what you did, but I imagine that even before you started, and then, like you say, testing and asking people what they want, that you became aware of, oh wow, here are the real gaps. Here's where there's a real vacuum in that. And I'm really curious what each one of you has sort of noticed or would say, no, yeah, that's a vacuum, it's not my thing, or it is my thing, or there was a vacuum and that's why I'm filling it, or it's a vacuum that doesn't relate to me, but I still see it. Like, I'm really curious, just any vacuum discussion. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, so for me, this is definitely something that does relate to me. I spent my career in clinical research, and one of my biggest fascinations became the placebo effect and the understanding of the power, it's really scientific proof of the power of our beliefs, the power of our thoughts and our expectations of reality. And I became obsessed with trying to really understand how do I implement that in my everyday life. And at the same time, most of my life, suffered from imposter syndrome and just, self-worth and self-confidence issues. But I was very committed and on a journey of, self-expansion and development and all the things. And so I started to understand, that the most important and powerful belief that we have is the belief in ourselves, who we believe we are. And understanding that, without evidence, belief is fragile. So what I've created is really to create that evidence that the brain needs, understanding how we, where we hold our sense of self and who we believe we are and how to change that by providing the brain this evidence, right? This multi-sensory evidence that it needs to believe in a different self, to change the self-schemas. And therefore, your actions become just aligned and natural, right? So that's how this came out.
the gaps really presented themselves to me. So prior to building Somarae, I had events, clients, I'm a certified somatic breathwork facilitator. I was already coaching, already doing events, hosting retreats, and it was a gap that they would tell me. So it was a real problem that clients I already had and my community were sharing with me. And it was me researching it. I wanted to find an app that I could supplement to help them, on their day-to-day, because Somarae is micro practices meant to help you in your very few minutes to really complete your stress cycle and then move on with your day. It's to help with those micro practices that we all need. We need to drink water, right? Not just once, but consistently. So that's the same kind of thought pattern. And so because of this problem, I could not find a solution that I felt was not only trauma-informed, but really heart-centered. I know that there's an app out there for women's cycles that the founder and CEO actually sold that data, and women trusted this, and I felt like, I think to be able to really resonate with women, I had a different lens because I am a woman and kind of going through this, and so I really wanted to create something that was so personalized to the people that I was already helping. So the gap was presented, and it kind of unfolded with me just being curious and really wanting to create something that was of integrity to me, that I could trust to, present to the people that I cared for a lot, like my clients who go through a lot of not only trauma, but like a lot of healing, and wanted to really go back into their body. So that's where the gap was just unfolded with me doing the work.
Wonderful. Thank you all so much for being here. We can keep the conversation going. Like I mentioned, we have an after social at Grail's across the street. We'd love to see you there. Follow the podcast at howiaipodcast.com to learn more about future featured founders that I have coming up. I just released an episode this week featuring a woman who specifically teaches AI to seniors and those over the age of 60. And just really a reminder of how inclusivity is so important for tech and AI, and that's really the mission behind my podcast. So thank you all. I hope you all are walking away with a sense of empowerment and inspiration and one key takeaway. And thank you, ladies, for hosting. Such wise words were spoken here tonight from such different spaces in your lives, and I'm so honored to have hosted you. So thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Can we get the music on, please? Help yourself to the refreshments and
Amazing.
probably take our photos. Yeah.
This is amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it was so great to meet you.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, it was so, the two of you, because, and again, it's not about me, but it just so happens that what I'm doing is like,
Yeah, thank you so much. Really? Okay, great.
at least how I see it, so it was just so interesting, and I'm like, okay, I would love to get, and again, not to focus on me, but I
Oh, good.
love
Yeah. Absolutely.
honest feedback.
Yeah, of course. I would love Great.
to.
I'm so happy to hear it.
Nah, that's not going to be it for yet.
I don't have any other events coming on this week
Absolutely,
right
I would love to
now.
hear
I
what you
usually
think.
well, I'm going to Marian's on Thursday. Everybody's talking about a Claude Code event on Friday, but it's waitlisted, so I don't
More
know.
sophisticated and accurate than Myers-Briggs, than any of them.
Yes.
And one of the things that makes it really powerful
I'm
is that I can
considering
ask
transferring my data from ChatGPT to
choice
Claude.
questions, and anyone who answers those two questions, I can give them a detailed analysis of the
Yeah.
and I'm very much individualist.
How do you tell?
The way I talk
Oh, really?
accounts for individuality, because I see personality.
Oh, wow. Trooper.
Individuality means not necessarily forward. So the way I talk about personality,
That's incredible.
From everyone.
What about you? How did you find out? How did you find out about the event
In real
tonight?
time, what I'm getting about you into what I'm saying. While keeping that foundation of the So, I just finished an MVP. Spent a month.
Happy Lunar New Year.
Using Lovable. Oh, I need the Lovable thing. It didn't work. I put it in the card. I couldn't get it to work.
Oh, what does that mean?
So our company is actually special.
Basically, it's a therapeutic app.
So
People dealing with